Hi, and welcome to this little video on B1Print delivery and macro launch via GUID. This is an advanced topic, so we will see it via an example. You might not ever need this, but for the ones who really need it, it's a really good tool. So here we are in business one for the example, where we have a B1Print delivery button, and whenever we press it, it will run a specific B1Print delivery here. In this our case, it is the 145 here, because I put this button to run this universal function, 145 here, and I'm just doing a preview. But this is all good and well in this system, but what if you go in and export your configurations? Let's put them in a test folder here and export. And let's just take that one. There we go. So now we have exported this, but if we import it in another system, it will not get the same number because the numbers are just auto-generated here. So if we do that and we export all the other things, this number will suddenly be either incorrect or not even existing. So we need a better solution for that. And the way we do something about that is that we go in and generate a GUID instead of just this number, which is we cannot rely is unique. But instead we can right click and say generate GUID for this report. This requires version 2022.08 or higher. But if we do this, we are told that we now have a GUID. It's copied to the clipboard, and we just need to update here in order for it to be used. So if I do this, it will still work with 145. That hasn't changed. But we can now, instead of 145, put in this new GUID that we just got from the system. And if we updated that instead and press the same button, it works exactly the same as before. And that's because we now have a GUID. We can go in and get the GUID again if we need it, or made it in another database and so on. So we can get it put in here again. If you go in and export this, so now if we export it, and let's just take the same folder again, because if we look before the export, we can see that this one doesn't have a GUID. But if we export it again with a GUID now, we will see that in our test folder, we now have a GUID, so it's part of the export. And that is good if you just move it into a new database. But of course, what happens now if I import this again and I have a GUID already that is the same? Now suddenly it wouldn't be unique. So in that specific case, if you do that, it will come up and tell you the GUID is actually already in the database. And if you import it anyway, it will get a new GUID, because we can't have the two global unique identifiers. This, of course, doesn't happen in a database that doesn't have this configuration, or if we go to our folder and make a change. So if I quickly go to the folder on another screen here, 1 second, and we go in and say, this is actually not the GUID. We have a B here, something that are unique, and we import into the system. Not really a common use case, but just in case you need to know that it needs to be unique in the configuration as well, else it will get new configuration IDs. But again, you will normally do this in a template-like system where you have nothing already, and then you import them with the new configurations all over. So that is actually everything there is to it. We can still use 145, but we can now use this alternative ID either generated in another database or generated for the first time in this template database. That's everything. Thank you for now.